In a world made of steel, made of stone. Where I hear the music, close my eyes, feel the rhythm, wrap around, take the whole of my heart. What a feeling, I can't have it all now, dancing all my life. Take your passion and make it happen. You just come around, you can dance right through your life. The music close my eyes, I am risen in a flash. It takes hold of my heart. What a feeling, it's a feeling. I can't get enough, dancing all night. Take your passion, make it happen. Just come on now, dancing through the night. What a What a feeling, you just come on and you can dance right through your life. What a feeling, what a feeling, I can't have it all, have it
I represent readership, teachership, speakership, culture keeper. Cause the culture we keep in it. Proved I'm speaking it. Critics wanna weaken it. Written gossip and bullshit and the people believe in it. Gather around now for the precious God. If you're new to hip hop, KRS is hot. I don't tell no lie. That bullshit they talking online, that's the tactics of the FBI. Y'all falling for the same old disunity thing. That's what Malcolm X couldn't link up with Dr. King. While William DuBois was against Marcus Garvey. Together, they could have built a strong black army, but not hardly. Arguments between Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton rock the Black Panther Party. We need to wake up. These strategies are old. Unity, that's the goal. Let's go. That real shit just keeps flowing. 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 Line after line after line after line. Since 1989, I've been way ahead of my time. But it's frustrating hearing all the hating and debating and the faking and the waking. Man, we gotta reawaken. The time that we be wasting, and fighting. We can see we unenlightened, man. Look what we writing. You got the most advanced technology in the palm of your hand. And all you can do is turn around and diss you, man. That's like a baby with a loaded gun, thinking it's load fun. I'm a little older, son. We done seen dudes die and cry and get by. We done seen cops shoot down blacks and just lie. So we're like, we can put out UNIT. Why didn't anyone comply? Y'all living a lie. The truth is the truth, and we gotta get it straight. Revolution only works for those that participate. That real shit just keeps flowing. That real shit just keeps going. That real shit just keeps flowing. That real shit just keeps going.
Peace, love, and light, family. This is Sister Mawu. Y'all know it. This is my 2 cents. Oh my goodness, family. I was watching this movie called Jupiter Rising. No, it's Jupiter Ascending. Sorry. And it's wild. Uh, average little, wacky little movie. The action, semi, because I'm a movie buff, so. But it was the words in this movie that needed to be heard. That was like, oh, they playing around. What are they saying? Right? So it started off with this man, her father, and he taught astrophysics, and his mother taught applying mathematics, and they met in the school. I think he said it was St. Petersburg University. Both of them was teaching it, and he was looking at the stars, and that's how they end up falling for each other and all that. So it goes off with her mother. His father's name is Maximilian Jones. Has something to do with stars. He was a son of a English diplomat, right? But it didn't really go into much about the mother. You know what I'm saying? Um, so they get together, get married, and she gets pregnant, right? She's pregnant with the baby, you know what I'm saying? So he calls her Jupiter, right? And she's like, nah, nah, nah. Okay, I forgot this too. Yeah, go ahead, that's right. She's like, no, 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 but he said he's convinced and all that shit, right? So some niggas just bust up in the house and say, give me your money and rob him, right? And they take his telescope. And he like, no, 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 not my telescope, not my telescope. So they shoot him. So he end up dead. So, the mother goes in depressed and everything. So, leave everybody. Nobody, only person she has is her sister. So she goes out and she's on a boat in the middle of nowhere in Atlantis. And she gives birth to Jupiter. And then it comes in that, her auntie's holding her. And they say that, while Jupiter is narrating her story, right? She says she was born with no country, no home, and no father. And they also said she was born in the house of Leo and Jupiter rising at 23 degrees. So she's a Leo and her rising sign is Jupiter and 23 degrees. And so that goes on. She get bigger. Everything's happened, and it goes. Another scene comes in. It goes. The clock says 4:45. So 13, 4, 4 what? Foundation. security. Uh, what else for it about? Having enough. You know what I'm saying? Stationary to having enough, right? And she was like, she gets up and she find out that her mother and her are cleaning people's houses. So she's cleaning the toilet. And she looking like this. She said her aunt said because she's coming in Jupiter, she would have, because Jupiter's expansion, big things will be coming to her, you know what I'm saying? Her life will be expanded in big things, in great ways, I guess. I get that together. But so she was like, shit, bullshit. Astrology to her is bullshit, right? So after she does that, I'm thinking, okay, this movie is called Jupiter Ascending. After she does that, her and her family sitting down eating lunch. That's what I'm eating breakfast and sorry, dinner and crap. And that happens. So her cousin asks what happened. Oh, she goes to work and there's a lady there. She has money or something. She's about to marry this. She thinks the rich guy's about to ask her to marry her, so she's going all crazy. So Jupiter talks to her, and she goes into the closet to get her an outfit, right, for her date with that guy. And these ugly little creatures come in there and do something to her and make her faint. And Jupiter is inside the closet. And while she see these things, ugly little creatures that walk on twos and walk on fours, and they like grayish, right? And no hair, no nothing on them. There's just skin and eyes and teeth and legs. And if y'all seen the movie, y'all know what I'm talking about. And later they call them, they have a name. So they go, they doing this little, they know they're alien sounds talking to each other, and they go and pull this little thing out and shoots her in the back of her neck. We check and said this is not her. Saying it's checking her it's taking fluid from the back of her neck. So Jupiter in the closet like shocked, and she like taking a photo of it on her phone, and then just a flash go past, and she and the girl wakes up. Boom. She goes home. Boom, boom, boom. Like think of nothing, right? So after she goes home, her cousin talks her into selling her eggs. So she goes into this place that she's supposed to be going to sell her eggs. And when they say it was her turn to come up, they got her all hooked up in things to do the jump, but it was end up that was the ugly things. So they clipped her all up, had her floating in air, and took shot her in the back of her neck with a little tube, and it said this is her. Found out that was her. So the doctor, but he actually wasn't. He was actually a creature disguised as something. So he was shifting, as you put it. And yeah, he shapeshifted. He said killer, right? And then she was going down and with the anesthesia, whatever stuff they had, it's on the killer. So this man comes in. They called him in a description. Genuinely genetically a genetic hunter and shit. I guess that's what it is. So he coming in, busting in, killing all them, save her, right? So they going through all this. That's the action part and all that, right? And it comes in that is two. That scene starts. It comes in with two people walking, and there was a lady and a man. Uh, One was called Titus, and the lady was called Kaliki. And then one came in, they was talking about what was they was walking in a planet, and it was like, what was this planet called? This talking like nonchalant. it was like empty. Shit was just everywhere. And then appears another sibling called Balaam. Balaam. Okay, Balem. And her name was Kaliqu. And Titus Titus, right? So they talking and everything. And talking about their mother death that came in and also. Past that, right? Y'all see the movie, right? That was her B day and all that stuff. And then he describes Tyson comes in while he was talking about it was his mother B day and everything. He to Berlin and um Kaliki that he came across a description of a planet that his mother claims to be the most rare and beautiful estate she ever owned. She named it Earth. The sister said to that planet is worth more than all of Titus planets estate combined, right? And again, it switched to another scene, and at 4:45 in the morning, that's Jupiter's getting up to go clean the house. It's like she's being like Cinderella or something, right? So after that, they hijacked. They came in. It was called after she got home and everything. This creature was called. They called it IBIS. They called him a lichen. Was coming down the street. Was coming down, and that's it. He was. That was the point that he was looking for before the hospital, and he saved her and all that. And they call him a skyjacker and an ex um, legion also. And then they switch. Oh, he. Okay, I'm sorry. He made a deal to get Jupiter for the god. The god Titus. So when all that happened and she woke up and everything of the getting out the hospital and they was attacking about the killing, she asked her what the heck when what's going on. What the heck was they? And what was this? He called them those creatures that were trying to kill you. He said she's asked him, "What are you?" First. I'm sorry, I'm all up in the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, they got her sample from the back of her neck, and then the Lagaton, that's what they called him. She started talking to him, and she said, "This is a dream." The Lagaton told him he was a engineered hunter. Um, he was human, and he said that he was human. They cut his DNA. They cut his DNA or something like with something like a wolf. They call him a Lagaton. He is breed for the military. He said those ugly creatures that was trying to kill you are called keepers. They are droids. They were the droid system, and they were genetically repro- reprogrammed to act like monitors and watchdogs. And so that come in. So they said that he getting the ride for who was they paid they got him to pay him or promise him something to forget her. So they had their ride. It was like a beam going up into the sky. And, that got stopped by the hunter that was hunting her the first get go for another god that was after her. And the beam went up. It was like 100 feet. It was 100 feet, and the beam went up. So now we find out in the scene, while he was trying to get her and everything like that, they stopped her for getting him. They stopped her for going up into the beam, into the ship, and everything went to blast, the fighting and all that, boom, 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 right? And Jupiter and them get away, her and Lagan get away, and he realized what was going on, that who hired him lied to him. And that family that hired him was called the Abraxas. And they said the Abraxas was the most powerful family in the universe, right? The Bill and all that, when all that stuff was going on, he was saying that Braxton was the one that, she said, what's going on there in the car? He said, what's going on? He said the Braxton's family is having a family war. And she said, what about all these people in this building? How you think people's not gonna forget this? He told her that the buildings will be done and fixed by before the night falls. And they will clear short-term memories. It's easy. They might not get everyone, but that's okay. But the ones they didn't get, they think they're crazy or something wrong with them. And that's some crazy shit. That's what he said to her. That's what he said to Jupiter. You know, Berlin was mad because he didn't get her. What he got the, he's not at the scene, but he got something done so he can see the scene. And Berlin called him the Lagerkin, a slice. He said, "Why? How can one little slice defeat all your men?" And I was like, "God dang, what does that mean?" So he told her name. His name. He said his name was King Wise, and he did say that he was um, sliced or put together with some type of wolf-like animal. So maybe a dog, because his name is Cain. um, he goes to find his friend, and him and his friend was in the leads together. And they said that his friend was a marshal of the Argus. And they said the Argus people are like space cops. So Lager was living, and they called him Stinger. He said, Mr. Stinger, and he knocked on the door, and Stinger stole him because he's the one that got something happened to him, got them kicked out of um, August, Agus. Okay. And then he had a lot of bees around. And then bees started following her command. And then that's when Stinger, he just stopped and he just called her a majesty and all that. And then he asked, so she was like, we didn't understand why her face was funny, why they keep calling her majesty, blah, blah, blah. And then she asked and told her what happened to them. They said that they was clipped and stripped of their mark, of a mark of the court martial jackers. But that's what they was. Um, Jackers. And she said wings. She said yes. Stinger said he called the wings the best bio neuro synaptic prostatic the military could buy. Talked about of what the wings was made of. And he was cut, he was fucked up, so he had to heal him. So he sprayed this junk on. She said, "What?" And she got up and looked at him. She said, he tells her, talking about the scientific miracles that our people already has, but we are capable of, but we won't go there for some reason. And then she asked him why we don't share this. He said, "This is what Stinger said." He shares with her and said, sharing has never been your people's strong suit of your species. Ain't that some shit? And then he said, as she asked him, why you call me your majesty? He said, bees recognize royalty. And then the stuff was going on. She said, "So what's going on?" He said, "The gods is playing games." And so Jupiter Stinger said, "You don't know the truth about um your Earth, your planet, do you?" She's like, "No." But she ended up asking him, "So what's the mark on your neck?" They said these are brands of splicers. Who made them? Who their name is the he called her his name. Her name was Margaret Eggerenson, I think, that sliced him because he himself is a slicer, sliced with some other DNA. Um, Jupiter, Stinger and Jupiter continued to talk, and she asked, "Why? I think the Earth. We need to know these things. Why is it so? We don't know this." She said, "Most Earthlings thinks they come from Earth, but they don't. They don't. It's actually a planet in the in the Cunabulum, Cunabulum system called Oris or Horus, Orous, a little over a billion of your years ago." He explained, your planet was discovered during what is commonly called the Great Expansion, and at the time, Earth was inhabited by a branch of species called cephalopods, a human predator called sargons. Obviously, before the any colonization or resource development could be done safely to your planet, a large scale of extermination event was manifest. And Jupiter asks, "Are you talking about the dinosaurs?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Y'all killed the dinosaurs?" He said, "No, technically, y'all did. Your people did." So, at this time, the enemies, as the hunters that's hunting after, looking after her, trying to go after her. Let me get this together. The hunters that's after her to take her to the other, one of the other gods. I think that's Titan's crew. Um, that Cain used to work for, but that's the Lagan. You got to remember, he's the genetic hunter, gene hunter. He can find anybody. He can smell your genes. Okay. Well, these okay, and they coming in. In the movie plots, they coming in about they moving into where Stinger lives at, right? So Stinger and still talking to Jupiter, telling her the story of her people. Giving her a one-on-one, right? He continued to say, according to Commonwealth records, this planet was seeded by Abraxas industry roughly 100,000 years ago. Human DNA sliced with indigenous species to evolve and fertile the planet. And he says that uh, we're he said, and then he said, that's where the why gets ugly. He said, basically, the goal is to grow population as large as possible. Once the population exceeds the planet's ability to sustain it, it considers consider ripe for harvest. She asks, harvest, and a question, but the bees start coming around her, right? Irritating her, right? Because that means the hunters is getting closer, So stuff going down, they boom boom banging banging, trying to get her out of the jump and shit. But they end up getting her. The bees end up protecting her and stuff. She's running and doing all her jump. The hunter fighting, doing his shit, making sure they're not trying to get him. and all that. They get her, Hunter gets on the ship before all that, before they leaving off Earth. And then they after they get her and catch her, they leave one of them crop symbols. Of them they be saying that aliens be leaving it in the crops of corn crops, because that's what she was running through. Corn crops trying to get away from the jump. And Hunter gets on the ship right before they leave, and they leave, and he got off of Earth. Now the scene goes to Berlin, one of the brothers. I think he's the oldest brother, the child of the three gods that's this battle is going through, and he's talking to one of his servants, or one of his CEOs, named Mr. Knight. And Mr. Knight is all white with white hair and all black, little fragile looking motherfucker, right? And he's talking to Mr. Knight about the facility running at capacity. He wants 4 Dionysus and cost project for any early harvest. And Berlin asks, what kind of grade are we getting from the skims? And they call them skim, SKIM. And Knight answers as excellent product, sir. And continues to say prime grade. While he's saying prime grade, y'all, needles is sticking into human body and it's turning around. Like the machine going shoo, 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 like on Terminator and stuff, right? And that one was a European female, right? And then he also the Knight says, it is a particularly robust stock. And then you see when he says that the machine sticking needles and things in the melanated sister, and both of these was ladies, um, body, while he was talking about that robust stock, right? And he continues to talk about a merge of the market of the harvest. If they harvest a little later this century, the profit should eclipse eclipse his nearest competitor, right? So when he realized that, because we realize now that uh, Jupiter of this planet, because he hollers at night, and he said he will harvest it tomorrow before she gets it. So he hollers at nights about that, because finding out that Jupiter is the real owner of Earth. I'm like, okay, what is that, right? And then the scene goes back to the hunter and about bounty hunters, right? They backstab the ones that's supposed to be taking her to Titan, backstab or not really make a deal with another dude, and they get this solution called these Jones called I think it was called Gen X. One was called Gen X. Some type of solution, right? That was closer to the jump when they started giving me a name of what was really going on with the jump, right? So so the bounty hunters got it. So she ended up her first place that she ended up after the bounty hunters got their little stuff and traded. She's the first house she ended up at. They called it the Alcazar Kaliki. I'm messing up right now. Kaliki Abraxas. That's what they called it, and that was her home. And this was the sister. So this is where it started going on, and she was like shocked to see, because this is when we find out she looks like her mother, a split image of their mother, and and she introduced herself. So Jupiter called herself Jupiter Jones, right? And she called herself Khalees as the Ed ever said, right? So they She asked her why she's here, right? And what was going on, what was the thing. So she goes and she shows her mother. Is a statue of her mother, and both of them sitting there like her mouth open too. And she asked, she said, "How can I be your mother?" She said, do y'all understand reincarnation?" She said, "You're a reincarnation of my mother." And she was like, how can that be unless your mother was a human from Earth, right? She said, "Well, we all human. I'm just as human as you are, right?" So hold on, where am I? She said, she told Jupiter, she said, "Your planet is just now entering its genetic age. You understand very little about which is a vital part of your reality." She continued to say to Jupiter, "In our world, genes has an almost spiritual significance. They are the seeds of our immortality." And then she can end up to Kaliki continues to say that someone learned to extract some genes, repair, and to extract some others in the same order. Oh, let me hold up. This is what Kali says to Jupiter about with her and her mother. She said when the exact same genes reappear in the exact same order, the way Jupiter looks just like her mother and like the same identity, it is for us what you will call reincarnation. Hold on 1 second, please. My daughter coming in. Wait, hold on. All right, y'all. I gotta move that. She said, "How can I be a reincarnation of your mother unless your mother was from Earth?" That's what Jupiter asks Kaliki. Kaliki says, "My mother was born before your first cities was built." Jay asks, "Are you're some kind of vampire race?" And Kaliki, she chuckles, right? And says, "We are the cause of a lot of those myths y'all speak of." And she said, "I promised my mother I was just as human." She said, "I promise you, my mother and I was just as human as you and I. The difference between us is knowledge and technology." Holly asks Jupiter, "How old do you think I am?" And Jupiter answers her, "About 40-ish." And Kali answered her, "I recently celebrated my 14th millennium meaning, y'all." She was 4,000 years old. She and Jupiter said, "You 4,000 years old?" She said, "Precise, I'm 4,004 years old." She said before her mother died, the one that looked like Jupiter, she was approaching her 91st millennium. She said, she asked her, "How your mother died?" "Somebody killed her." Boom. So she was like, "Okay." She said, "Come on, Jupiter, let me introduce you to your possibility of your new life, right? You have to really check these words. This is the reason why I'm doing this, because it's the words, these gods, this dynasty called Abraxas. Abraxas. This is a dynasty. While that's happening, she's talking to and everything. You know, Cain sniffed her out. He coming to save her and all that, right? So while she's talking to Kaliki is talking to her, walking around. So let me show you, right? So she gets and she walks into this little self pool, liquidly pool like, and when she immersed her whole body, but when she came out, she was like 20 years younger. For real, boss still was 40. But anyway, Kali tells Jupiter, listen to this. Each of us has a code for our ultimate physical condition. The problem is our genes has an expiration date, which transferred to our cells. She continued to say, what is that? Nonchalant. Okay, she continued to say nonchalant, right? A long time ago, someone figured out how to replace this disorganized or deteriorating cells with new ones. And today it's easy as changing it like a light bulb. Changing your cells from old to young like a light bulb. Jupiter asks, where did you get this light bulb? She answers, we grow them. Jupiter asks, like a clone? Kaliki says, no, with a chuckle, with a chuckle, and say clones lack genetic plexity. Several million years ago, a gene plague caused by cloning nearly annihilated the entire human race. Did you hear what I said? She said several million years ago, a gene plague caused by cloning nearly annihilated the entire human race. That's what she said to Jupiter. Jupiter looked at, Kaliki. She was told that the house, and I slashed and put family of Braxis, seated the earth. And Kali said, is that where you get it? Asking her a question, right? Continue to say, your earth is a very small part of a very large industry. And went off the subject, you know what I'm saying? So everything busting in, of all the question, they started walking off and Kane come busting in. Okay. And she went off subject. And then she said something. She said, "What?" I think Jupiter asked. She said, "Why do y'all need it?" She said, "More time." She said, "Time is the single most precious commodity in the universe. You even kill for it." So the action comes in. What comes about to, get her, but there ain't no too much action because she gives up because she's the woman. I don't need to fight. You know what I'm saying? So she also told Jupiter that Bolin has the title to her planet, um, but she's really the sole owner of the planet Earth, and this is why he wants to kill her. And then that's when Cain comes in to pick her up. He said now she's on her way to Titus. Now Jupiter's starting to fall for Cain and all that shit. And then he find out Cain attacked a entitled person, a royal person. And they said that he has defective genes. They arrived at Titus' house, right? But it didn't go to they no, actually they didn't go to Titan's house. They go to a place because it looked like the DMV, and they get this assistant called Bob. And I'm telling you, they went through the shit like DMV, y'all. It was place, department for her to get her title for the planet Earth, so she could come. And then they paid him off, paid the nigga off, shot him off some, I guess, space money, right? And that process then started. She was able to do what she do because she had to come from the bottom to the top, and then end up saying that she's falling for King Wise, and then Stinger ends up being betraying them and shit because he needed some money or something. He needed some money, so to get the Titans down. And to me, when I look at Titan look just like a fucking he his mouth. He just a nice con man, swindle with his mouth. Not a brilliant liar. You can see it. He's a pretty boy and all that shit. Now Jupiter gets mad because they interrupt her and he kidnaps her, right? And he take her to a jump. Now he's known that she's against his will because she know about her titles and shit. She reading shit, I guess. So this is the youngest. Titus is the youngest. Now she goes from the sister, the oldest, to the youngest. Man, I'm sorry. I know I'm everywhere, y'all, but y'all get it. Y'all get it when y'all hear it. He's amazed because he's looking at her like, oh my God, he's my mother, right? So she knows she give her a little daughter and saying that he's being kidnapped. So he asked her for even to have dinner, right? So that's what Cain was going. Boom. They locked Cain ass up. People started comparing her with her mother with the things she was saying, the way she looked, how. But she was suspicious of him for what she went through for kick up. You understand that? So all Tyson is off trying to ask her that she's in love with Mr. Wise. That's what he was calling Mr. Wise. She said she ain't, because Mr. Wise, he just wants to be back into allegiance, right? It's a business deal. And he said, she asked him, your sister told me that you would do anything in your power to for me for not to claim my title, claim my planet. But he said Kylie's just lying, right? And she asked Roxy, would she lie, right? Boom, 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 right? Then he said, because she's in competition with Berlin, she knows that the laws of the earth will reduce the yield and impact his position in the market. Is his laws her game? And she said, both of y'all game, right? Even you. He said, I used to be like that until now that I see you again, I wanted to do what my mother was doing, some shit like that. And so, he said, come in, because he's saying everything, whatever how it is with Jupiter, if she's something like his mother, he would give up what he was doing and shit. So that's why he hasn't been doing it, right? Being a graphics, the evil nigga. So he talked to her, let me show you what's going on and what he happening. So Titus take her to this place. She asked, what is this? He said, this is mini, and give her this still with some clear silverish liquid. It's like light. It's like light in a bottle. That's what it looked like light amount He said, what is this? He says, it has many names. React, Regen X, Resale, and Nectar. He continued to say, there are various levels of usefulness and quality, but this is the most pure and most valuable solution made by the house of Braxis. She said, Judah said, I saw Kaliki coming out the bag. And he says, yes, naturally, my sister didn't explain what it is or where it comes from. And Jupiter says no. He continued to say, it comes from people. Each unit is refined from, particularly hundreds of human beings. Jupiter say, what? Titus say to her, your planet is a farm, Jupiter. There, there are thousands of planets like yours, set up by families like mine to supply and every increased demand for more time. Do you hear what I said? Titus told Jupiter that her planet, which they said that she owns, Earth, is a farm. He said there's thousands of planets like yours, set up by families like mine, like his, dynasties, to supply a ever increasing demand for more time. He said his mother became profound with this. She changed her mind. She didn't realize, oh, I don't know if she changed her mind or she didn't know. She changed her mind. She wanted to put a stop to this. So they murdered her. So he ended up saying that he wanted to continue her work. So that he feel that they were murdering him. So he asked Jupiter to become his heir, right? Become his heir. And she was like, why? He said, I need an heir. If I die, I need someone to take over my estate because I don't want my sister and brother, Kaliki and Balin, to get it. And then he asked her to marry him. I'm like, oh, wow. How can he heir, Heir, his heir? Do you have to marry somebody to be his heir? Right? Okay, Stinger sees about trying to another scene come in while they talking about that. Stinger trying to get Kane because they're gonna kill Kane and they everything now. So action stars Stinger goes to get Kane with the legions. The legions he's on a ship with the legions. Then another scene comes in after that when he's coming in to find where he's at. Scene comes in that Titus, because they have King walking into to where they supposed to be doing, hanging his ass, whatever doing to him, right? And Cain tells her, why you didn't tell me what you needed her for? He said, and Titus told Cain, lies are a necessity. They are the source of meaning, of hope and belief. He said, honestly, lies is the only reason why he gets out of his bed in the morning. I know he was deceiving, but he said lies are a a necessity. They are the source of meaning, of hope and belief. They are the source of meaning, of hope and belief. He's saying lies. If this what I'm getting, he's saying lies are the meaning of hope and belief. There's no your hopes is lies and your beliefs are lies. You're lying to yourself for hoping and believing. Damn. And then all that, and whispering his ear, he all that. Then he said, "I'm a cast." He cast Cain. He said, "In the void." He said, "I'm gonna cast you in the void. You think someone gonna come save you in the void? Cast them out into space." He said. The other scene come in. What that's happening? Berlin's little clan comes and take her family, and then Cain get rescued by the legions, which is a sister of the captain running that ship. So Titan is seeing or tricking her into marrying him. So they goes on with that. So they plan to rescue her, from Titus, and things going on and everything. They about to get married. She looking into the junk. She says to him and whatever, and they have this book that they would scan the ring on. So as soon as he married her, he was gonna kill her. Cain stops the marriage, go through the junk. He leaves, and he tell her. He said, he called her gullible. He said, you're prettier than my mother, but my mother was never that daggone gullible. Yeah, called us gullible. He saved and took her home like a night, showering armor. And when she went to her real home with Earth or real home, she realized they got her mother. But Mr. Knight was sitting there waiting for her. He wanted her to meet with his lord. He threatened her because he had a family, right? So you going, you know how to talk up, right? Okay, so they told him that the Legion is following him, right? And he was like, the Majesty, you shouldn't go. Boom, 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 you shouldn't go. And they said the Legion can follow him. So what happened with that? They go into his little junk, and the shield closed, and the Legion got, was sitting out on his planet. But his planet looked like Berlin planet looked like metal in the industry, the industrial areas. That's what it looked like. Yeah, he shielded his planet, and he called his planet was called Forgenes, Berlin's planet. He said now Berlin and Jupiter is talking right about his mother, and he while she was coming in, he said she should have stayed dead. And then she said, "I'm not your mother." Berlin says, "No, my mother will never clean toilets in her life." Right? Yeah. And that's like that good. Then he continues, and my mother taught Berlin continues, my mother taught me what was necessary to rule in this universe. Jupiter said, like killing people, and he gets mad. Berlin gets mad and yell at her, "I create life and I destroy it." That's how he said it, y'all. And he continued to say, life is an act of consumption. To live is to consume. Now the human beings on your planet are merely a resource waiting to be converted into capital. He says, Berlin says, the human beings on your planet are merely a resource waiting to be converted into capital. And this entire in this entitled enterprise is just a small part in a vast and beautiful machine defined by evolution, designed to design, no, designed to a single purpose, to create profit, to create profit. This is what Berlin said. Now the human beings on your planet are merely a resource waiting to be converted into a capital. And this entire enterprise is just a small part in a vast and beautiful machine defined by evolution, designed to a single purpose. And he paused. He says, to create profit. Profit. You know, Jupiter talks a little bit shit. He said, well, your mother told you fucked up, son. Right? And Jupiter said, he said, I love my mother, you know. But he said, she ended up saying, you killed her, but you killed her, though. So he smacks the living shit out of her ass, right? Then he said, Berlin told her, his mother made him understand that every human society is a pyramid, and some lives will always matter more than others. Then he tell her, it's better to accept this than pretend it is not true. The scene goes back to Cain and them. They planning on how to get on the daggone planet to get Jupiter. Because you know his force fields was up, right? Meanwhile, you know, Berlin is threatening Jupiter with her family, trying to make her sign over the title back to him. And by that time, it's actually going on, and Stinger and Kane is fighting the ship that's in front of them, won't let him go, so he finally, you know, get through to the jump, right? So he gets into Berlin's planet and crash into some type of thing and starts fucking shit up. And things started blowing up and shit. So he gets into and he fighting, she fighting both, and he gets into the spot, and that's where the fight in the family started. You know, shit blowing up, fire everywhere. And so the shields go down because people are evacuating because things started blowing up in his metal core genes, his metal planet that he lived in. So everything was blowing up. You already know the scene is coming. The legions is going to warp out of the jump before it blows up, and you know King is called the lion through the Jupiter on his back, hitting fire shit and all that shit. Boom, 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 boom. After all that, open to in front of Earth, and there go King and Jupiter in their little spaceship on the side, and then the next thing you know, she's waking up at 4:40 again, stability, stable foundation, getting up to go clean a house again with her family. And they give her her telescope so she can see the jump. And at the end, she sees Cain. He got his wings. She got the boots on. They go flying off doing the thing. Pretty shit. Flying in the air at the end, right? Right. So a little bit of the stuff I'll explain. Who are the Abractus? Who are the dynasties that own Earths like ours? Are we a farm? Are we being harvested? Because that word kept going on and on and on, coming on. Are we being harvested for our light? Because in those containers, the light, it was glowing liquid inside the jar. They said they will make the planet overpopulated so the earth or the planet cannot sustain them, and then they go for harvest. Wow. What is a harvest? What liquid that they're making? What they're harvesting from? What in the world? Harvest. Families in the universe is harvesting us. They're saying that we are just a farm. Can't say a zoo. They said a farm. A farm grows. You said they heard what the sister said. She said, how do you get these light bulbs? She said, we grow them. Is that what's going on right now? Are there families, dynasties, houses of dynasties fighting over this estate called Earth? This vast estate called Earth. And you are the capital, the prophet, the cattle. It's not that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. When I heard the words, because she is Leo, so she got loyalty, she got pride, she go, you know what I'm saying. She wasn't on her negative area of the Leo, so then she was a Jupiter rising. 445, but 13-4, the security states, and that wasn't. But God dang, shorty. So they saying that we living that everyday life. We're going on doing whatever, and harvest like fruits and vegetables. Human beings. Our planet is like thousands of other planets that does that. That they do this to. Yeah, man. The words, sorry for all the stumbling of the words, John, because I was writing down fast as possible. But the Abraxas, that's a while. The House of Abraxas, and y'all know the House is family. And that means Jupiter was a part of that family. Actually, the mother, reincarnated. So you do bring your baggage in when you're reincarnated. You just don't know about it. And then the only thing that would have got me is Kali, Kali Key. Only way I could find her name was in India, and she was the destruction. And then I also seen her name. It kept calling, taking me back to Khalifa, Callisto with an O, not Khalifa, Callisto. And then in Vermont, it was Kali Mula. But violent, I didn't see nothing in Titus. I already knew he just was. Y'all know, we already know what Titus. He was a charmer. He's the Roman Greek god, um, the great old ones. The Titus. I don't know. Balaam was different. I just thought him as Baphomet. Crazy shit. Gods up there fighting over planets and using the planet's resources as their own game. That's wild, man. That's a wild business. That's wild business. That's tight though. That's wild business. That's why I always say there's more to this game here. It's more. This is a layer of onions. Layer of onions. Cosmic history we need to know. I keep saying history is very important. That girl was born in the middle of nowhere, the middle of the ocean of Atlantis. Hit it. The Atlantic Ocean. She was born in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. She said she had no country, no home, and no father. Mm. Do that seem like this going on here in United States? Are we actually living that out? Not in the states of the gods, but in the states of humans? Because Stinger did say the Marshal Angus. He was an Angus Marshal, what they call the police. He did say that they manifest the extinction of the dinosaur. And she asked, "Y'all killed the dinosaur?" She asked, "You talking about the dinosaurs first?" That's what he said. "Y'all killed the dinosaur?" He said, "No, technically, y'all did. We did, the Earthlings." And she told us the difference between us and them, because we in our genetic stage or genetic age. Kaliki said that our genetic stage or genetic age, that the difference between them and us is technology and knowledge. Knowledge and technology. I don't know if I'm gonna post it. I might just post this, but I just meant to make a rant because this is crazy. I said, "Whoa, did you just hear what Khalid Key said? And did you just hear what Titus just told her straight up?" But she said what she said in the beginning when I'm like, "Oh dang, she didn't believe in astrology, right?" But it was expansion. It was. She ascended. If you want to go a little deeper than that, she ascended. She wore black. She ascended in the high power. She met her demons, the liar, the con artist, mover, that was sister. She was, "Oh, nothing love." Wasn't really. And all of them was after. Every single one of them. All right, family. Peace, love, and light. I'm getting out of here. I don't know how this sound, how this went, but it's okay. That shit was just wow. I just needed to put it out. I needed to say what I needed to say, how I needed to say it, in the way I said it. It doesn't matter how I said it. It is how I said it. It is how I said it. Alright, family, we're gonna go out like this with my man, Charisma. And y'all know the first song that came on I played earlier, that's Irene Cara, Shorty. I love that song. Sure, it makes you move. But I might play that again. But I'm gonna play this one first.
I represent leadership, teachership, speakership, culture keeper. Cause the culture we keep in it. Truth I'm speaking it. Critics wanna weaken it. Written gossip and bullshit and the people believe in it. Gather around now for the freshest guy. If you're new to hip hop, KRS is high. I don't tell no lie. That bullshit they talking online, that's the tactics of the FBI. Y'all falling for the same old disunity thing. That's what Malcolm X couldn't link up with Dr. King. While William DeMar was against Marcus Garvey. Together, they could have built a strong black army, but not hardly. Arguments between Bobby Seale and Huey P. and Rock the Black Panther Party. We need to wake up. These strategies are old. Unity, that's the goal. Let's go. That real shit just keeps flowing. That real shit just keeps going. That real shit just keeps flowing. That real shit just keeps going. Line after line after line after line. Since 1989, I've been way ahead of my time. But it's frustrating hearing all the hating and debating and the faking and the waking. Man, we gotta reawaken. The time that we be wasting, debating and fighting, we can see we unenlightened. Man, look what we fighting. You got the most advanced technology in the palm of your hand, and all you can do is turn around and diss you, man. That's like a baby with a loaded gun, thinking it's a load of fun. I'm a little older, son. We done seen dudes die and cry and get by. We done seen cops shoot down blacks and just lie. So when Latifah put out UNIT, why didn't anyone comply? Y'all live in a lie. The truth is the proof, and we gotta get it straight. Revolution only works for those that participate. That real shit just keeps flowing. That real shit just keeps going. That real shit just keeps flowing. That real shit just keeps going.
Peace, love, and life, and I'll see y'all later.